Day to day, the work of Xavier is lived out in tens of thousands of interactions. In the calculus classroom, or writing an English essay. In Mass in the chapel, maybe with only a handful of kids, or Mass in the church with 1,200. In exchange between player and coach, at times testy exchanges, right? And in other times, really joyful exchanges on the field of play, right? But these thousands of interactions are Xavier being created and recreated. To steal from Hopkins, it's Christ playing in 10,000 places, lovely in limbs and lovely in eyes not his, to the Father through the features of men's faces.
What something like a 175th allows us is it demands us to pause and think about, wow, what are we connected to historically, and therefore what responsibility do we have for the next 175 years?
It's an historic time. I'm certainly very proud of Xavier. It's a proven entity.
The expectations were just higher at Xavier, and you were expected to act as a man and behave as a gentleman.
Honesty, integrity, gratitude, and always trying to do something for others. Those are Xavier values. When they talk about men for others, that is the one motto that not only do I live by, but my children live by.
These are pivotal years that dictate who you're going to be for the rest of your life. Xavier is so much a part of it that it just demands loyalty.
It was 4 of the best years of my life, and I wish every boy could have as good an education as I got.
It's an incredible school, it has an incredible history, and I know it has an incredible future.
Our class is like a band of brothers. We went into Xavier as young boys, and we came out as mature young men. For that reason, we are all eternally grateful to Xavier.
When I think about my friends at Xavier, I think about lifelong friends.
My classmates from Xavier, they're the group of 7 people in the world outside my immediate family who I just know and I can always call on.
The sense that all of us were formed and shaped in this particular way continues to unite us, and there's a sense of like palpable joy and kinship, which I think is really unique to Jesuit schools and to Xavier in particular.
I have found I've struck a note with guys that I probably didn't speak more than a few words to the entire time we were together here. You all of a sudden pick up a thread that you didn't even know existed.
I'm really fortunate to be able to count amongst my special friends, guys from the 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s. And I've gotten to know younger alumni. Very, very blessed for all those relationships.
The first day I entered into the school on 16th Street, it's just been a family to me. It's that family tightness, knowing that I can always go back to the school.
We learned what it was to be a good sport, what it was to be a good student, what it was to be a good friend. And that's something that actually very, very quietly we taught each other.
There are things foundational to Xavier that I think have been true since 1847. Making the reign of God, the kingdom of God, real here on earth. And I think ultimately that's done through the work of teaching and learning.
As a place for education, Xavier builds character, it builds virtues, it's concerned with forming the whole student. That's something that's incredibly important and incredibly valuable and exceedingly rare.
My most influential teachers were Father Yates, who taught me creative writing, and Father Neffel, who was our counselor.
The most influential teacher I had was Father Vinnie Taylor. Joe Caruso also taught me when I was a senior, and he taught history, and I always loved history, so I always loved his classes.
Frank McGuire, who I had for history in first year, and he sort of instilled a pride and a patriotism of our country in me.
I was very close to Father Bill McGowan, who was the college counselor here at Xavier for many years. So many generations of alumni cherished their time with Father Bill McGowan, and I was certainly one of them.
Mr. Marco and Lisa Hickman, they both instilled within me a really great respect for theater, and more than that, like a love for doing it.
If I can make it here, if I can do well in Mr. Mahan's AP US history class, I will be more than okay at whatever school I go to.
That's not like any class thing that he could have said. It's Mr. Mahan's AP US History, so specific.
I've taken a lot of college courses, and only a few of them I've compared to the to the rigor of some. But it's good, and it taught me like the value of working hard and putting in the time and just doing the straight path towards it.
I think Xavier is absolutely phenomenal in the sense that they take immature people like myself and really help them develop into young adults. The Jesuits have this, one of their many concepts is freedom within discipline, so they gave you that framework as well.
Of course, JUG is perhaps the most common thing that unites all Xavier students. I think I had 82 my freshman year, so I was late quite a bit.
So we spent a lot of days in JUG, actually. It was always referred to as Justice Under God, but at the time, Dean Gregory was the Dean of Students, and so it was referred to as Justice Under Gregory.
What started out as just like mindless walking, what it felt like, actually turned into like just time for you to reflect, self-reflect.
As an adolescent, it may be hard to be on the receiving end of discipline. But I think the whole point is that you learn after a while and as you grow up that discipline is something that you impose upon yourself.
What I found when I arrived at Xavier High School was this real fierce commitment to Christ, and at the core of that, the fierce commitment to the joy that Christ demands of us.
I appreciate all of the religion teachers I've had because I think the way they taught their classes helped me open my mind.
It was more like a conversation instead of a lecture. It wasn't, God says this, so you have to do this. It was like, well, what do you think about God?
When you look at how Xavier has developed over the years, the things that they have done, one of the constants has always been that God is there for us. We need to pick up his cross and follow him. That's what it says, and that's what we do. And we do that through our actions. We don't do that through words. It's what we do and how we live our lives. And I think that Xavier has made that difference in my life, and I know in the lives of my classmates.
There's a sense of reverence that I have because I can picture the feet that trod these halls with me and so on over the years, and I can hear their voices again when I walk in here. It's renewing to me.
It'll be exciting to see what Xavier continues to achieve and evolve into as the years go by. We have the ability to be bold and to be ambitious in terms of advancing our mission, advancing Jesuit education, being the preeminent Catholic high school in the city of New York.
The school has done a fantastic job on updating and modernizing itself with the times. Xavier's trying to be exactly what it's always been, a leader and at the forefront.
One of the concepts of Ignatian spirituality is to meet people where they are and go out to them. We can't be a staid organization. We can't be a staid institution. Is there a way that we can go out and reach people who perhaps 20 years ago we wouldn't have thought of reaching?
When I think about the 175th, the real challenge and the hope is that this great history propels us into a great future. A future where we make real the best hopes of the Society of Jesus, the best hopes of the Church, that we are indeed agents of reconciliation, agents of hope, walking with people into the future, because that would be the best tribute to the past 175 years and maybe the best hope for the next.